Great day interviews continues. Gary V in the house on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour set. Gary, what's going on, man?
Things are going well, my boys. Good to see both of you.
I'm going to waste no time.
Let's go.
Give me the morale check on the Aaron Glenn hire with our New York Jets.
I think it's high. I think they made it really worked out for the Jets given how disappointing this has all been. The fact that truly one of the hottest coaching prospects or available in the market was such a meaningful Jet, especially for my age range. He was such a primetime guy. He was such a high caliber guy, and he was kind of, his first few years we were bad, and then he was in that prime during the Parcells years. So, I think it's a big win in a lot of ways, and he's also built a really strong staff around him. So I think, look, the Jet fan base will grab at anything.
Yeah.
If we if we get a second round pick that excites us, that would mean something. So I think in general, I think it's a very good hire. And I also think that I don't want to seem delusional or too optimistic. I really like to be practical. There's been years that we've gone in and I just look at my friends and crew and I'm like, look, we're going to be 3-13 this year.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who actually knows sports and actually knows the Jets situation, you wouldn't be flabbergasted if they could make a playoff run. There's too many good players on the team.
Right, sure.
You got Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. You got defense, and I mean your defensive line is one kid short right now of being ridiculous. Right. It'll be interesting to see if they can get Sherwood signed or what that market looks like. Doubt. That would, if they don't, that makes that linebacker situation a little weird. Their secondary strong. DJ Reed won't be back, but Sauce, Michael Carter, so you're a couple pieces away there. And by the way, this quarterback situation's interesting. They could decide to double down on Aaron and the Devontae thing, but if they don't, you've got a lot of people running around. You've got Russell Wilson. You're going to have Kirk Cousins. You're going to have JJ or Sam. Right?
Justin Fields will be out there.
Fields is going to be out there, and Jackson Dart is shooting up so there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks off the board. Might free up someone, or I don't know what this new brass thinks, or they may want to go 1 year with Tyrod and just go with the vet and take someone at 7 or at 39 and build. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm happy with the hire.
Yeah, me too, man.
As a Jets fan, though, as a long-suffering, crazy, passionate Jets fan, what do you want? Do you want Aaron back just from a fan's point of view?
I'm being dead serious on this. As a fan, I want to know the math. Meaning,
perfect answer.
If Aaron's back and Devontae's back, what else is happening? There's a lot of dead money there. Yeah. What do we get for Devontae if we trade him? There's just a lot. It's just not that easy. I'm being dead serious. I'm agnostic. It was very clear he can still play the position. The last several games he played well. Our offensive line was a mess.
Obviously.
I mean, we thought our left tackle was going to be the best thing since DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Unfortunately, we got him the year his career changed. Yeah, and our offensive line was rough. Look, I don't like to pick on coaches because I think it's a tough profession. I think any very nerdy Jets fan is very happy that we have a new offensive line coach. Our running game situation should be so much better. The schemes. So, I would say Matt, no joke, I'm not kidding. And usually I have a very hot take. The truth is I can be very okay with either. I just want to know the optionality a little bit better.
All right,
if you told me we could get a second-round pick for Devontae, which we can't.
Right.
But if you told me for some weird reason the Commanders just thought they're a piece away and they just decided. Because you do get weird ones. I didn't think we could get 2 number 1s for Jamal Adams.
Right. Listen, Luka got traded.
Correct.
Anything can happen.
Correct. So those become the variables. But here's what I will say. I'll add one more piece of content. There's a lot of logic for Aaron Glenn to not want Aaron Rodgers there. It's a big halo. And if you're trying to build a culture and a program, wouldn't it be nice to clean it up and start? And so I would say, if I had a bet, and I know nothing, even though I'm very wired in, I do not know a thing, I would bet that Glenn would want to start fresh.
Yeah, turn the page, his culture.
Yeah.
Kind of, restart it his way.
Yeah, makes sense. Gary, one of the things I've known you forever. We've been friends forever.
Yes.
And one of the things I love about you is that for as knowledgeable as you are, you're curious.
Yes.
You're constantly curious. Hey, NFTs, I want to learn about that. Oh, crypto, I want to learn about that. You're always curious. And recently, you and your brother bought a sports agency.
Yes.
Vayner Sports has now become a real factor. What did you learn once you got into that side of the business?
A lot. As diehard of a fan as I was, as much as I knew, as much as one could know when you're not in the business, there was a lot of interesting things. What did I learn? I learned that NFL, so because I'm such a business guy, when we bought Vayner Sports 7 years ago, I was a pretty mature businessman at that point. NFL teams were less mature about business than I thought. We were starting to transition, but I caught the tail end, and then I did the homework and understood it. It was a lot more mommy and poppy than you would think.
Yeah.
Like there would be like, oh, the guy's been around for 30 years. Let's make him the head of business operations because he used to play left tackle and he's been around. Like it was a little more mom and poppy, and a third of the owners are literally third-gen kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that third-gen drama that comes along. So that was interesting. I'll tell you from a true business, might be nerdy for the show, what's really cool about the NFL is how often a third, fourth, and fifth round pick make you money as an agent as often as a first round pick.
Oh, wow, that is
interesting. Just the way, right? We all know this. Like, the amount of Hall of Famers in the third round are equal to the first. Like, so that's been interesting. I will say the other interesting thing. Oh, here's a nerdy one. I was trying to really think of one. Yeah. I was blown away that the combine is really all just for health.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize
you don't see it on TV.
That the combine. And those things happen, and sometimes a kid runs fast, and we've seen Hassan Reddick comes to mind of exploding up the board because of a combine. But the combine, friends, is there for them to check their health, to look for the hole in the heart. Some of the stuff we hear, unfortunately, every 6 years. That is a medical conference that happens to do the other stuff.
That has a lot of dressing, a lot of window dressing.
So that was interesting. Probably, even though I knew it, but it probably got reinforced, is how many of these guys don't love the game?
Yeah.
They're just athletic freaks.
Yeah.
It's their quickest path, easiest path to financial freedom. And I respect it, but as somebody who would break their arms off to be an athlete, it's not in me to not care about the game. I'm going to play a pickup game next week like it's game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Of course, exactly.
So that's just who I am. So that was reinforced. So and many other things I can't think about. That I can't, recall right now, but it's been a lot of learning.
Well, you guys have made a tremendous amount of successes, a lot of inroads. I know AJ spends a lot of time here.
Yeah,
your brother AJ, who I love.
Look, there's very few firms that become a meaningful firm in this because, to the credit of the CAAs and the Wassermans and the Athletes First, we're incredibly proud. And now we're at a tipping point, right? When you're repping Kirk Cousins and Sauce Gardner and Aiden Hutchinson, it's starting to come together. And for us, we're pretty unique because we're in every sport. We have UFC fighters, we have baseball. We just signed Brandon Miller in the NBA, which is a real guy. So we're now in basketball. So we're excited about it. It's a lot of fun.
Was there ever a humbling moment in the sports agency world? Because, like you said,
the whole thing, yes,
right? Like the NFL,
very.
Like you go into something, you're a competent guy, and you've had a lot of success, and you think okay, I'm going to do this, and it's going like this, A, B, and C. And then you kind of get, almost punched in the mouth.
Two things were very humbling. One, I am normally in my family businesses the 1A, not the 1B. In Vayner Sports, I'm the 1B.
Right.
AJ does it full time.
Yes.
I'm too busy. And so, that's humbling in that, there's a lot of things that I would do different, just like AJ would do different. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes he's right. That was a really interesting and fun. I was ready for it, but it was challenging. And continues to be challenging at times because I want it to be what I want it to be. And it's really 1A, 1B. It's not 1 and 2. And the most humbling part was I did not realize, this could answer both questions. I did not realize how much this was a rich get richer business. I came in, I was like, look what we can do for you off the field. If you get drafted 11th by us, by any team, whether it's us or you go with anybody else, you're going to get paid the same.
Right.
So I thought a lot of them, the families, the players, would be smart enough to realize all the other variables were the actual thing an agent does. And I was very, very, very caught off guard on how many times we lost a kid early on. And the kid would be like, I really want to go with you, Gary, but man, they have Johnny Johnson. And they repped, Aaron Glenn.
Right.
And Marcus Allen, I see is walking. They used to rep Marcus Allen. And we didn't have that at first. On the flip side, it's getting very easy for us to get any corner we want when we had Kool-Aid, when we have sauce. So now we knew we had to eat a lot of crow. Now being on the other side of having just enough, we're still not tier 1, but we're firmly in tier 2, and we will be the dominant tier 1 player. We always do, and you saw this, Matthew, because we've known each other a long time. Same with my advertising firm. Now we're here. And the same thing will happen with Vayner Sports. And we're already in a meaningful place, which is very humbling and exciting. And repping Jets, bro, is
it's pretty cool.
The coolest.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, if I was a Jets player, that Vayner Sports would be the first place.
Somebody that gets it.
Yeah, you're going to know. You're going to get a lot of love there. What's been interesting seeing your career grow is that success begets more success, right? The more you do something, and then Gary Vee has become a brand in and of itself. Yeah. And so as you've continued to grow, more and more opportunities get pitched to you.
Yes.
You get. I've been out with him in public, and people come up. Hey, it's literally like walking Shark Tank. Everyone constantly.
It's good content idea, by the way. Walking Shark
by the way,
Tank.
It's actually I have a TV production company called Vaynerchuk. And we've done a couple shows. We actually did the show on the Jets season that's going to air in Amazon before.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not exactly the way we thought it went, but compelling television.
But good TV.
I'm sure. But I was just going to ask, how do you spend your day? Because I feel like every time there's a new announcement, and I'm curious, how do you spend the majority of your day?
I would say the majority of my day continues to be a mix between VaynerX, which is the 2,500 person global advertising firm. I'm the active CEO. That's a lot of work. That's an 18-hour job by itself. I'm spending a lot of time on VFriends.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm building for everyone's listening, you may not know this, I'm building a Pokemon Marvel Sesame Street-like brand called VFriends. In fact, I have a major announcement coming this spring. I signed a deal with Topps. So I have a Topps Chrome trading card for my VFriends coming out. I spent a lot of time on that, Matt. That's probably the secret, giant I'm building. Because I'm now 3.5, 4 years in. There's a successful kids book. If anybody has kids out there, the people that make Coco Melon make my cartoons on YouTube Kids. This trading card thing is going to be massive. Every card shop, which you can't imagine what that means for me.
No, you're a massive trader. Everyone knows you're a big collector.
Every card store in the country going to have VFriends cards in them this summer. That's just insane. So, but it ebbs and flows. Yeah. And I build people around me, and I build people up, and I try to change people's careers by becoming big executives in my world. And I'm proud of that. And that's a big part of my journey. Even when I was a kid, it was important to me. It's now become very important to me because I have such a big platform that when I'm 90, I want people sitting in this a show like this and being like, yo, listen, 30 years ago, Gary Vee gave me a shot. I was an intern in one of his companies. He saw something in me, and now I'm the CEO. That matters to me. So that's one of the reasons I can scale. I'm always giving people opportunities. A lot of times it doesn't work, and a lot of times it does.
Yeah, no, I've seen that firsthand. I know a number of the people in your universe, and I've seen them go from
intern to CEO.
Yeah. I mean, D-Rock, was following you around with a camera,
right. and now has a media platform.
Yeah,
that's exactly
it's
right.
Unbelievable. Like my oldest son David was an intern for Gary one summer. And he's doing great as well. This is a good question for you. Like you said, some of them don't work out. When do you know to fire somebody? That's as somebody who's a startup founder. I have a startup. We're up to 23 full-time employees, so we're getting there. Awesome. We're getting there. But one of the things we've learned is one of the advice I've been told is when you're doing a startup, it's better to fire too quick than too late.
I agree with that. I think firing is knowing, hiring is guessing.
Right.
So, listen, the reason I made the face I made as you were asking it is that has been my kryptonite. I've had a pretty great career. Yeah. If this was Canton, Ohio, and I was saying I'd be like, let me tell you about my weaknesses on the field. My weakness on the field by far was I have a bleeding heart. I mixed kindness and empathy and compassion into business in a way that I'm incredibly proud of and has been a strength. But sometimes your gift is your curse.
Right.
And early in my career, and even now, I'm still, to be honest, a 5 out of 10 on this. Candor to then set up an easy firing does not come easy to me because I believe when I go to an employee and be like, you're f***ing up, you may get fired, that they get so scared and they tailspin and I always thought that it wouldn't work. I have found a way to do something called kind candor where I feel I'm landing the message in a way that doesn't scare them. I still think I'm a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
I really do think that I've got a lot of work to do to really get to where I want to get to. the answer to your question is I do think people should fire faster. I think people should hire faster. They're looking for the perfect hire. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I think they should fire faster because you do know. And I've got a big one for you.
Okay.
That I think this is my hope of the thing I say that helps you. I think you should promote fastest. Just like you know when someone doesn't have it, you also know when someone does.
You don't want to lose them, right? To someone else that sees it.
That's right. And the best, you may not lose them early, but you might lose them in year 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you promote them fast early in their career, it embeds a family dynamic in them. They're like, wow, Matt really sees me. And I'm a big fan of promoting fastest.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's and I struggle with that as well in terms of trying to, you want to be nice. You want to give people chances. Throughout my career, I've been able to raise up a lot of fantasy football content creators and a lot of different people in the fantasy industry and sports betting industry. And so that's something that I take pride in as well, careers that I've helped. But yes, there are times when somebody I've given a chance to, I'm just like, it's just not working. And you want it to work, but you're a nice person.
I would argue that.
And it's tough, especially given the, economy.
I agree. But I would argue that I believe in hindsight, it was my ego that was keeping them around. That I thought they were better, that they stink, and they're better off me enabling them than going into the real world where they'll really lose.
Right.
In hindsight, that was ego flaring up. And I like where it was coming from. I have found people that have not been successful with me that swallowed that hard pill, and especially in the last 10 years where getting fired by me in my world, for a lot of them, it was their dream ever to work with me.
Sure.
To lose in a lot of, Luka.
Yeah.
I have a funny feeling Luka's going to be 15 pounds lighter in about 7 weeks.
It's like a reality check.
Yeah, and so if it can happen to somebody with that level of talent, I think for a lot of people with average talent, it's a motivator that gives them that nice little edge that really builds their career forward. And so that's important.
Yeah, and by the way, sometimes it's not a right fit. This person might be a good worker, but they're just not fitting into the Vayner ecosystem, but in a smaller ecosystem.
Or a bigger ecosystem.
Or either way,
That's right.
it might
it's
work
moments in time.
Yeah.
I see people at Vayner today that would have crushed at Vayner the first 2-3 years. We're not the same Vayner.
Right. Yeah, things grow. I will say this, because people know we know each other and everything like that, and I get asked a lot because you're such a public persona, and I just said, here's what I will tell you. Everything you see on camera, that's him. There's no BS there with Gary. There's no filter. What you see, if you know him in real life, is the exact same as you see him on Instagram. That's him. And I've always admired that about you, that there's no fakeness to you.
No, when the Jets came back and stunned the Browns, and I made that receipts video, that's literally what was happening in that moment. That wasn't for the gram.
Right.
That was me losing my mind of what I just saw.
Can't play on that one.
No.
Gary, we cannot let you out of here without asking a Super Bowl prediction. It's just tradition at this point on this show.
By the way, I crushed last year, which means I feel like I'm going to be way off this year. Last year I predicted overtime the whole time. Yep. I was really pumped with that prediction.
Good money on DraftKings if you believe that.
Yeah.
I have been locked in to believing that the Eagles are going to win 29-28.
Wow, okay.
I feel like it's going to be a very, very tight game.
Yep.
And I think ultimately, I believe they're going to be able to run the ball. And I believe when you are able to run the ball, you are able to win a lot of football games. And I think they're going to sneak it out.
29-28, are you thinking a last-second field goal? Because Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker, has struggled all year long. Do you think he finally has a hero moment here?
That would be awesome. You know what's so weird? I actually think it's going to... That I don't know. I actually... What's funny, when you just asked me that, I actually think I'm going to back into it.
Okay.
I wonder... what could be fun, though, is... No, that would be... Yeah, that's where I'm going. I think we're going to back into it. I think the Eagles can win this game. I really do.
There's no question they can. The two ways your scenario is Jake Elliott makes his hero moment. Right. He struggled all year, but he kicks the last-second field goal. Or Chiefs go down...
Score late,
28.
Don't get the
they go for
kick.
2.
Yeah.
They go for, and the Eagles stop the onside kick. So it's 28-29.
Yep.
Right, and they're instead of kicking, they're gonna go for the win.
Yeah.
And they don't
That's how you
get
the most exciting thing. By the way, is this true? You guys would know. I felt like I saw it in my Jets thread. we're talking about changing the onside rule to like a 4th and 25 or something.
They should. They've experimented with the idea, but it's broken right
it's
now.
Broken.
The onside
Yes.
rule. They know
It's
that
broken.
it's not going to be the same. It's so beyond
By
broken.
the way, let's just talk nerd out if you've got one more minute
Yes.
about
Yeah.
like things I'm excited about. Please God, can we? It looks like finally we're going to get instant replay on roughing the passer. That is going to be such a good thing.
it's a mess. It's not consistent.
I'm not. Look, as a Jets fan, I enjoyed so much everybody being like, the Chiefs get all the calls. I'm like, guys, the Buffalo Bills get unlimited calls. I watch them 8-9 times a year, at least, because of my fandom. They get every call.
Yeah.
They get all the calls. Josh gets the most roughing the passer calls. He's a truck.
Yep.
He should get none.
Right.
You know,
he looks for
you
it. He
can't
knows how to
rough
get
him.
it.
You cannot
Yeah.
rough him. You could bump him. And so I would say that rule change.
Yeah, they
And
need
I
replay
love
system.
and I love the replay system. What are they calling it? What is it called now?
Yeah,
When
the
video,
replay
the
system.
video replay
Yeah.
system. Video
They're only
assistant.
allowed to
Video
interject
system.
on certain situations, and I think they
More,
want to
But
expand.
more,
that's inconsistent.
more.
Yes.
It needs to be consistent where they do video assist.
But let's talk Jets football.
Okay.
1982 AFC Championship game.
Sure.
The Miami Dolphins fumble the football on a drive. The guy wasn't even close. It wasn't one of these things of today. The guy was still standing on both feet. They didn't see it, the refs. They gave it back to the Dolphins. They scored the only offensive touchdown in the game. Like, this whole Buffalo, missed calls is the history of sports.
It's a sport. That's how it
It
goes.
is.
You got to play
And
well
by the
enough to
way,
put yourself
was it-
out of that situation.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. That's how it goes.
Although, given how much money is at stake,
Yeah.
how much careers are affected
Yeah.
by individual calls,
Let's go
legacies,
up.
and that
Yeah,
kind of stuff, why can't we have
We can.
more
We
technology?
can.
Like we have
We
that
will.
ability.
But
Why
by
is
the
there
way,
not
you know
why
why?
is there not a chip in a football
You know
that
why?
says this is exactly where?
Matt, you know why?
Why?
Because you have 80-year-old owners that think it's cool to ride horses. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, that's the
It's
problem.
true.
Like, that's why. We should.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
lean into it.
we will. Well, we'll be a little older. He'll still be in his prime.
Exactly.
And he'll be like, yeah, here we are. Like, and by the way,
time.
it'll be great. Or I can guarantee you, I'm going to clip this when
Okay.
I'm 90.
All right.
And then you're going to have people that are going to be like, you know what? Now that everything is 100% digital accurate, kind of miss the days of the drama of the missed
variance.
call.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with technology now. All of a sudden, people are reminiscing about writing letters like it's a good thing. I think we will miss referees making missed calls one day, and I feel very confident in that prediction because I believe it's part of the batter, of the fabric, of the ingredients, of the truest, greatest soap opera in the world, which is called live sports.
Well, that's what I believe. I don't think he'd ever admit that, but that's what I think Goodell thinks because I mean, for 2 weeks we've been talking about did Josh Allen get a first down or not? You know what I mean? It
It's a
does.
He did not get
It's
it.
the conversation.
He didn't
No,
get it.
no, he didn't.
He didn't
I
get
think
it,
he
guys.
did.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he did, and I think Dalton Kincaid got it on third down.
But that was closer than the Allen.
Yeah,
one.
Kincaid was much closer. I think that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
that's the conversation.
Right.
That's the argument that keeps it
I
interesting.
also watched the game pretty carefully to banter with my Bills fans. I also thought Kelsey was held on every play.
Yeah.
See?
Every single play.
Right.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of teams implement the early Belichick Patriot era hold on every play.
Yeah, until they
I think the
call and
Bills
catch
hold
you.
on every I think they hold a lot, especially Milano.
And you should. You should.
By the way, I would hold on every play too.
Right.
I think Michael Carter does a great job with that for us.
I have one crazy question.
Yeah.
My producer's telling me we got to wrap, and so we're going to wrap. But
By the way,
I
can I say one more thing?
I-
Don't forget, I just got to say this.
Yes, go for it.
Patrick Surtain had more flags than Sauce this year. Jet
Fair.
fans, enough.
Good point. It's a good point.
Go ahead.
All right, so this is a crazy question. We haven't talked about any of this at all, but it just occurred to me. I'm just curious. I think you have you have such a huge following, and you have so much respect as a businessman,
Yes.
as somebody and you have such a specific point of view on the world.
Yes.
And we have seen in politics,
Yes.
people in business with specific points of view and large followings have success in politics.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about running for office?
So I was not born in this great country. I was born in the former Soviet Union. So I am not allowed to ever be president.
Right.
For a lot of my 20s where I thought about politics, long before anyone who knew who I was, because of how I feel about people and just how I communicate,
Yeah.
I was always aware that it was in me.
Yeah.
I was always like demotivated. I was like, man, the fact that I can't like get to the tippy top of the game, like what's that all about? And and now with the way that politics have evolved over the last 25 years, you know, Matt, I've been walking the floor today for a couple hours. 40 people have come up to me and said thank you for the impact that I've had on their life.
I'm sure.
The second I go into politics, 50% of people would stop listening to me.
This is very fair.
I genuinely believe that it's in the cards for me to keep going the way I'm going. I also think I trick people into good behavior. I think because I'm so alpha and so like how I am, I'm able to like break through with a group of individuals, a lot of times alpha dudes, and actually instill patience and empathy and like some different soft skills. I just feel like I'm making a good impact. And because I'm educated on what a governor and a mayor and a senator can accomplish, it's dirty, man. It's dirty, and it's very dirty to get there, and it's very hard to actually make a significant difference. So as of this moment, no. But one of my favorite things about me is I am curious. I'm very adaptable. I could see a scenario where I could at some point in my life. Currently, I feel like I can do more damage in a good way in the current way I'm playing it.
And by the way, I 100% agree with everything you just said in terms of your take, in terms of your impact. But that's what sucks about our political system, regardless of what side you're on, is that like you're somebody who would be a great politician. You are smart, you are business oriented, you've got a million contacts, and you are thoughtful and empathetic to all people from all walks of life.
100%.
You would be an amazing politician. But you're right, because of the way the system is right now.
I'm also purple.
Right.
I'm not red or blue. I'm fully purple.
Yeah.
And so like that in itself would never allow me to get through a primary.
Right.
I'm fully purple.
Yeah, you're set up to lose.
So like, it is unfortunate. It is also a business where the binary way to win an election is to tear down your opponent. Everything that I've done is
not
to
you at all.
It's just I root for my direct competitors. It used to, and it continues, if I'm being honest, piss me off when the Jets lose a big game and they're hugging the opponent 1 second later. On the flip side, I'm a hypocrite. I compete fiercely in many different businesses, but when I see my direct competitor, the first thing I'm thinking about is like, how's your wife and how's life? Like, I want to beat you, but I don't. Element. The people element, that is not real in politics.
Yeah, very true. Follow Gary V everywhere if you don't already, but you probably already do. Always
Thanks,
a pleasure,
Ben.
my friend. Great to see you. Love you, brother.
Love you back.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.